Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
I didn't even get to hear all of it. That was
Wonderful discography.
That was just for you.
Thank you. I have no desire to go to a Rascal and His Flats concert. I just feel like not my vibe, not my people, not anything. I would hire them for a private party. So we could. Wow. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of But Am I Wrong? Starring two people who have not once ever been wrong. What's it like to never be wrong, Melissa?
You know, some days are easier than others. And, you know, I wake up and I'm like, what's that pressure that's on my shoulder? And it's the weight of the world. But most days, you know, it's pretty good.
You carry that weight beautifully. And unlike the thick-necked, steroided up men, you have relaxed your traps physically. But you've been setting those traps.
But that's what I was going to say. But I've been setting the traps, though.
Catching what you need to catch while carrying the insurmountable weight of, you know, you say the world, I say the universe on those shoulders.
Yeah, well, I got to sleep sometimes, you know. So I take a few days off from the universe. Plus, today's one of those days.
You have a great public and professional working relationship with the universe and the aliens. So, you know,
I love
part
you
of the
so
territory.
much.
I can't. You and this, like, Melissa being the brains of the podcast and the audio equipment and all of the stuff. Like, sometimes you'll just sneak up on me with some audio thing, and it's like, oh, you just know how to make it sound like it's coming from inside my head.
Yep.
Yeah, a whole new unique way.
I don't do it for you, though. I do it for the listeners. But at this time, you are listening to me.
Yeah, right now you're performing to an audience of one, and then like 2 weeks or a week, people will be like, "Oh, that was funny," and you're like, every day, I'm constantly bangers after bangers.
Let's talk about why the show is going to be different next week.
The show is going to be different next week because if you missed last week's episode or any of last week's entire docket of all of our shows, you might not know that Melissa and I proposed the idea that we've been toying with for a while. You all know, if you've listened for a long time, that we've always wanted to do like a TV movie kind of podcast. We talk about that stuff like all the time, but we wanted like a rewatch sort of thing. But we do not have the time to start a whole new podcast. And the news in the world is very bleak, very sad. Melissa's swamped with work. I've been swamped with work. And so on those days, we've like skipped a couple episodes of But Am I Wrong between like being sick and then, you know, really insane. Yeah, burnt out work stuff. And then it's really hard when you're incredibly burnt out from work to then want to talk about like really horrific stuff that's like in the news and things that are really rough, especially like week after week after week. So we thought when those moments arise, when we're either burnt out or things are just feeling very dark and depressing, and we want something that's a little more lighthearted, and also assume that our listeners want something like a nice little bit of escapism, we're going to start watching shows, singular episodes, or maybe movie. We're doing show this time because of time commitment. And then we're basically taking like the same format of hot takes, but am I wrong, and applying them to the show. So first up, we are watching Gilmore Girls.
Yes. So we're doing a double feature, essentially.
Oh, yes.
Amy, I always forget the order of her name. Sherman.
I'm not helping you with the second because I want to hear what you're going to say. Say Pellegrino. It's funny.
That's what I was going to say, Pellegrino, but I know it's Palagino.
Oh, no. Fuck, now that you've said it. Palladino. I was like, I'm going to mess it up.
Amy Sherman Palladino. So I love one of her shows, and Meghan loves another one of her shows. And we have competing thoughts on them for different reasons that we've never even seen the other shows, really. I've kind of seen Gilmore Girls, which is first up chronologically. Anyway, because it came out first. So Gilmore Girls is a show about talking. It's about a mom, a daughter, the grandmother's there, Melissa McCarthy's there, Bonnie's there. That's all I got. There's a cafe.
Yep. It's a diner.
A diner. There's Yale, I think.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I got.
Women talking in Connecticut. That's what Gilmore Girls. Women talking fast in Connecticut. And then it's Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
There you go.
She's Miss or Mrs.
Mrs.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And that is a musical without music. It's a TV show that looks like the television production of Fox Presents Grease Live, but minus all of the singing and dancing. And they wear small hats and have pin curls. And I assume they talk in Mott's favorite old talkie voice. And it's not in black and white, but it gives the vibe that maybe it could have been. And it also has a lot of the same characters in it, or the same actors from Gilmore Girls, because Amy Sherman Palladino loves to recast. And also, as a fun fact, Amy Sherman Palladino loves to wear a top hat, which Mott's is obsessed with that fun fact about her.
Yeah.
So
pretty cool.
We're going to embark on this, and we are sourcing your own hot takes. If you've never watched the show, you have watched the show. Like, we're really going based off of the first episodes of each of them. So you can submit your hot takes, warm takes, cold takes, just first, like anything that gives it can be something you've been stewing on for a very long time that you're like, this is a hot take as a diehard fan, or you can say, hot take, I agree with Meghan. This show is a musical without any music. And this is the first time I've watched it as well. So you can submit those to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com ASAP. And
I will say by the time that this episode comes out, then we have already recorded
you're right.
Gilmore Girls, but send them in for Maisel.
Send in. But we're looking forward to it. I'm very excited. And just to reassure everybody, I promise you, Cheetah Girls, more specifically Cheetah Girls 2, is coming. We just did not have the time this week. And that one was one that, like, we need to fuck it. We need us
We gotta
all to
do
know
1,
this is
2,
coming.
3. We got there's 3, right?
And yes, without a doubt. The second one is truly the most important one, like culturally. But we have to give everybody and the audience enough time to know it's coming, because I don't want them to miss out on being able to share what I could talk about that movie for hours. You know, they're
We'll
based
see.
on a book.
Yes, Megan. We talked about this last week and Don't Blame Me.
That sounds familiar.
Or
I do think I was there.
Or See You Next Tuesday. I don't know. One of the ones I've already reviewed for this week that y'all have
Sometimes
already
I
heard.
don't know what we talk about online and what we talk about offline.
See, the difference is I hear
You
it.
listen to it.
I listen back. So I hear it twice.
And still, you're not sick of me. That's so impressive.
we're
Congratulations.
getting
Good
there.
for you.
We're getting there.
Don't say that.
Anyways, shall we get into this show?
I
All right. Time for But Am I Wrong? And that's where we, Meghan and Melissa, pick something from our lives, from pop culture, a hot take, a rant, something that we might have done this week that might have been, wrong. And then we present it. Okay, before we get into mine, I just want to give an update to DinoGate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, several episodes ago, I gave my hot take on dinosaurs. Yeah, I gave my hot takes on dinosaurs, and I just want to say that now researchers are saying that T-Rex's mouth might not have been as big as that we've seen, and they probably had lips, and right now they're depicted without having lips. So I just want to add that, T-Rexes got their little flappy chicken wings, probably got birds on it, got smaller mouths with lips. So this means, because this is like a big part of the logo for Jurassic Park, that we need a new movie, a new reboot of it that doesn't have Chris Pratt in it.
I co-sign anything that involves removing Chris Pratt. I do have a question. Can you have teeth without lips? Like a mouth? Like, what is that?
Ask like all these white dudes that are walking around like that.
But like, I'm just looking at them and I'm like,
yeah, because think about like a lizard. They got little teeth in there, but they don't have lips.
I guess I would just consider the perimeter of their mouth.
Well,
that's
yes,
not
but they're
the
saying
teeth
that
is-
they have like lips. That's their mouth.
like the T-Rex from Toy Story. Those are some lips.
That's just a
do
bottom
you
lip,
think-
really.
So
Because
do
when you
think
close
they're-
them up, he doesn't really have lips. It's just
So
because
are
his
we
mouth
talking
is
like a
open.
Cupid's bow? Like
Maybe.
we're talking about like, is this like a lip flip lip, like filled hyaluronic acid?
Here's the thing. Dinosaurs, the depiction of them, really fanfics, as I've already said. So I don't really need to say much more on that subject. Choose your own adventure. If that's what you want it to look like, if you want it to look like that they got injections, then that's your dinosaur.
I want a Dr. Miami product. I want a dinosaur that went to Dr. Miami.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, so here's my hot take this week. Is that we've been ignoring one of the best electrolytes ever. I know that you're like in your electrolyte era right now.
I am.
And so one of the greatest health drinks was invented a long time ago, and we haven't really been talking about it. And first, I want to preface it by saying that I'm not a doctor. I'm not liable for any of these claims.
I'm dead. I've consulted our legal team, and I do want to make sure that you all know that I'm not a doctor. That being said,
I mean, this information is all like if you go on any like healthline.com, WebMD, the information's there. So this drink,
open your eyes, sheep.
This drink helps soothe muscle cramps, helps you stay hydrated because of the sodium and potassium, can help with hangovers because of the electrolytes, which are sodium and potassium. You can use it as a recovery aid instead of Gatorade and Powerade without the sugar. It's inexpensive, You probably already have it in your
Wait,
refrigerator
don't
right
say
now.
it yet.
Okay. It contains.
I'm writing down 3 guesses, and
Okay.
I'm writing down guesses as they come up. Okay.
Cool. It contains antioxidants. It has a significant amount of vitamin C and E. It helps boost your gut health because it's fermented, so there's probiotics in it. It has quercetin, which helps in lowering cholesterol. It also has antibacterial properties, so it can kill the germs that cause bad breath, as Listerine says. So when you chill it, it's cold. It can be refreshing. It's a little tart. Can make your lips pucker a little bit. You can choose your own adventure, really, because sometimes it can be vinegary. I mean, it's always vinegary. A little garlicky, can be sweet or buttery, whatever you desire. You may ask what I'm referring to. What I would swirl around and guzzle. What is the greatest health drink that was ever invented? Megan, put in your guesses.
Okay, I'm going to give you my guesses in order of, I think my final one is the one that it is.
Okay.
So my first one, Yoo-hoo. As soon as you said fermented,
Incorrect.
I go, Yoo-hoo is not fermented. And if it is, I'm fucking out
Disgusting.
and someone needs to call the FDA. Then I thought Pedialyte. And then I was like, I feel like that's pretty
Too
obvious. You said
obvious.
you probably already have it in your fridge. And I go, not unless you have, I think it's children who drink that.
Mhm.
And
That's
then I
the
thought,
pedia as in pediatrician, as in child.
oh, don't come with me the
Pedialyte.
fucking Latin prefix and suffix all over again. And then I was like, Kool-Aid? And I was like, you got into the fermented. And I go, I do not think the Kool-Aid man is fermenting. And then I thought cranberry juice, because you brought that up. And then you said garlic and buttery. And then my final guess was pickle juice.
Correct. Pickle juice. So Megan, I know you've been complaining about the citrus in your life. So if you want to take a shot of pickle juice,
Melisa, before I got
you can do that and
electrolytes,
start.
when
Mhm.
I was desperate, I was like trying to drink the salt water, and I had someone DM me, and they were like DMing me, like we talk a good amount, and they also they have diagnosed POTS, but they were like, you definitely have it. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying the salt water thing. And they were like, I'm telling you right now, babe, if you get desperate, I need you to just take those pickles out if you want to eat them later, put them in a different jar, keep one of just the liquid, swig, and you're going to feel better in 5 minutes. And I did. And I was like, oh, wow. I literally have just a little one, just of the juice left in there for when I need
Set
it.
occasions. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's that like savory kind of vibe, especially if like, oh, my heart's a racing and I just ate something like salty and savory. I'm like, I want to continue on this path. And sometimes you get those little pickle chunks. What are those little chunks in there? Is that garlic?
Yeah. It can be garlic.
floaters?
That's the thing. That's what I was saying. Choose your own adventure. It depends on what they flavored it with. It could be garlic. It could be just the seeds,
Oh, the seeds. That makes
the
sense. to me.
spices that they put in there too.
Wow. You are you're so spot on with all of
Thank
this.
you.
And who's gonna get on the pickle juice PR team?
Right. Because I can see the next thing, the next big thing. They're like, bone broth. We're over that. We're not going to sell bone broth for $15 a cup anymore. Or getting on the pickle juice train.
Erewhon's gonna start selling pickle juice shots. You know who was like spearheading the PR campaign? They gotta hire her back on.
Pickle spears.
Wow, unintentional slay on my end. Go me. It was Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez, big pickle girl. Big pickle girly. She would get on all of those late night talk shows, especially when she was in her Disney era. And they would be like, let's talk. And like, you know, Disney really media trained. So you only have about 3 things you can bring up. And so constantly hosts are being like, Selena, I hear you love pickles. And she's like, oh yeah, like, you know, I drink pickle juice. And they're like, bring out the pickle juice. So like you could probably find like a 2-hour compilation of her on every single late night show drinking pickle juice. Selena, I know you're busy. You've got Rare Beauty. You're doing so many other things. Only Murders in the Building. Love the show. If you
She got
could
a cooking show too.
link back. Oh yeah. Selena and Chef. If you could link back up with the Pickle Academy, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Collab.
So, you know, we speak things in existence on this podcast, so it's probably coming.
Also, why we should also be a part of the collab. We should just like give it off.
So pickle
What's-
juice. I know that you like pickles, and I know that you have electrolyte problems, so I was trying to find a solution for you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. This should be your new MLM. So mine is, if this is a hot take, I don't know, insert some saying like, slap me across the face and call me Susan. Like, if this is a hot take, like, no. If I'm alone in this feeling, and if I find out that there are people there in the world walking around who enjoy this experience and want this experience to happen, we have issues. And you are the people who are enabling this to continue happening. And I blame you for so many things in the world.
So this is either a hot take or rant. We don't know yet.
I mean, without a doubt, it is a rant because I am passionate about this subject. But we need to make this. I don't believe in cancel culture, as in I don't believe it exists. But if I could cancel something, I could make this. I am anti-police. I am anti-prison. This, straight to jail. When cast members of Broadway shows walk through the aisles and interact with audience members, which is the exact same thing, and it gives the exact same emotion to me. Oh, this is in character. Not just like walking around afterwards. In character. Fraternizing with the audience in their seats. And it is only leveled up by the experience of A Bug's Life, quote unquote, ride experience at, is it Disneyland? That's where that one is. Interactive movie theaters, any sort of interacting with the audience.
I gotta take notes so I can be ready.
In character. It is awful. It is awful. The 3D movies where they blow hot air in your face. No, I'm being assaulted in the theater by a 2-dimensional picture. Oh, and then they're like, oh, throw some 3D glasses on so you can really feel out of sort. That is awful and terrifying. And I am terrified with the uptick in AI, virtual reality, that they're going to be like, well, you know what? You can watch the Hunger Games and you can feel the fire. You can feel your heart racing and you can feel the impending doom that you will be killed. And guess what? Maybe we'll have people walking through the audience and breathing down your neck so you genuinely have that fear. I want to watch a performance, whether that is on stage or on screen, as a form of escapism. I want to watch it and enjoy it and just know that, like, I'm in the cinema, I'm in the theater, I am not participating. I'm not getting paid. Where are my union reps? This is a SAG violation. I am not a part of this production. And the fact that you're going to hoodwink and bamboozle me into gasping and awing for my own sensory displeasure, hard pass, straight to jail, criminal offense. And I don't know why, but I feel like Lin-Manuel Miranda has something to do with this.
Are you done?
Yes.
This is a hot take.
You fucking freak. You like this goddamn shit. You're insane.
Here's the thing. First of all, Cats the musical, part of it is them going in the stage and interacting. That is part of the enjoyment
nightmare
of the show. I don't know if you watch Kimmy Schmidt, but there is a bit in that show that they just pick people at random and then you just become part of the show because that's what Cats feels like.
Melissa, that combines two of my least favorite things, and the other one is humans with like fur on their like like where you're no.
If I could go to a show of Grease and they induct me into being a pink lady, a dream. I went to, this should be no surprise to you because I go to interactive shows like Bridgerton. That Bridgerton thing I went to was a show
you were
that
like
was
the star
interactive. First of all, not star, diamond. Oh my gosh.
No, I meant you were like the like number one on the call sheet, not in like you weren't a ornamental star. Like you were like the leading lady.
I 3D movies I went to as a kid, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which that movie as a whole is terrifying. And then you add the 3D element, even more terrifying. They did have the feeling of things breathing on you, like bugs breathing on you or like sneezing on you, and you feel the water hitting you. They even had
disgusting
rats moving around on your little feet.
Wait, what year did this come out? Because I wonder if that also traumatized me.
I was a kid, so I don't even think you would have been alive.
No, but they had a second
I'm
one.
sure it went. But I mean, like when I went on that ride, I was like a kid. So I don't think you were alive or you were like a baby, but I'm sure it was around for a long time.
Wait, is it a ride or the movie?
The movie there's 2 movies or 3 maybe.
Wait, but are you saying the interactive part was the
no,
ride?
There was like a ride, like you talked about ants or whatever you were talking about. The same way they had that.
Oh, wow.
So they'd show like bits of the movie, but then make you part of the movie. And so like when things would happen in the movie, they would happen to you.
I have
terrifying.
That feels, I don't know if it's like I'm having a visceral reaction to my experience with The Bug's Life and I'm feeling like I lived this too. But I feel like I lived this it's awful.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't.
Everything.
Florida. No, I might have. No, I probably definitely did. It might have been the same goddamn fucking time because I was in Florida. And as a child, the only time I went to Disney was Disney World. But Florida, Ron DeSantis, this is your fault.
So, I love to be part of interactive theater though. So as long as I've signed up for it, I don't want to be like on the street and then a British man walks outside and does dances and holds up fucking traffic. I don't want to be part of that because I didn't consent to it. But if I paid money to go to a theater experience, I want to be part of it.
But what if you don't know that you're a part of it?
I think if you go to a show, you should be prepared.
Okay, but Melissa, I was like 6 years old. Like, how are you going to prepare a 6-year-old? Like, by the way, there's a lot of things that are their fault. But like, so it's a very long list. But like, I think if I experienced it as an adult, no, I still would hate it. But
But you wouldn't go to it because you know.
No, because I would know. I would know now.
But when you buy a ticket, you're essentially consenting to it. Even I remember because I did a little like summer report on it, and there on the ticket it said that they will be touching you for the Honey I Shrunk the Kids thing. So you were consenting to it.
Okay, so I think maybe the thing is this seems to be an adult only show or with children that have to have children with their lawyers present who know what they're signing.
Yeah.
Children with representation, legal representation who know their rights and know what there's, because here I would like, let me press some charges for these. Oh my God. I hate it. And you want to know the irony of all of it is I could never go through like a haunted house for that same reason. Like I don't not interact with me.
I do not consent to haunted houses because I don't like to be scared. But if I'm going to have fun, bring me in.
So my thing with the haunted houses is like, there's no way I could ever walk through them at all. But I'm dramatic. I'm a performer. So I would be in the haunted houses that are like our hometown. Like it's very, once you watch Gilmore Girls, that's very my hometown, but more granola. And we would have these haunted houses. Like my friend's dad would put on it. He like used to like took over his basement. He's like a contractor. So like it would be like he's building multiple rooms.
Claire
like,
on Modern Family.
Oh my God. Like it's the fact that like I would go to her house like multiple times during the week, super, super close. Every time the haunted house would happen, I'm like, what is this part? Like I would never even know where we were in terms of like what the house was. And then they would eventually, and like his goal was always just to break even, was never making any money on it. And then he would rent out this specific place called Pavilion in our town, which is kind of like a big barn hall thing. And we do it in there. And I would always be in the haunted house, but I'd be so afraid. So like one of the older guys would like give me a piggyback ride where I would close my eyes, and it would be before obviously anyone's coming through, and they're like, okay, it's Meghan, everyone. Everyone's like, okay, like turn the lights on, she's going through. And like I would still close my eyes and like no one would scare me. And then I'd scare the shit out of people. And then when we'd be done, they'd have to like escort me out the same kind of way. So when I'm in control, I'm fine. If I'm controlling that, but it's the not knowing. We weren't allowed to touch people though. Because people kept like, and even if we didn't touch people, still some people would get punched.
That's what I was going to say. That's part of the reason why I haven't gone into a haunted house or I want to participate in one, because I feel like I would punch and I feel like other people also punch. So no, thank you.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm pretty sure the rule is if they hit you, you can hit them back. Probably not, but I think it should be at that point. If you punch someone in a haunted house,
yeah,
I think you punch someone in general.
In general.
In general.
Because it's self-defense. Oh, this has been a very controversial way to start the show, but
hey,
we both have our
us.
things.
And mine are, you could probably find, if you're a psych major, you could probably just crack open a page in the DSM-5 and go, there she is. A lot of my issues are right there, right on there.
Drink some pickle juice, participate in a play, and we're going to take a break. And we're back. But Are You Wrong is when y'all write in and share times in your life that you might have been wrong, and then we debate it. First up, writer number 1. Hello, Eminem. I, 25, they, them, and my family got in some weird situation with my aunt. Let's name her Yolanda. My question was going to be, is this in reference to Selena? And then in the parentheses, it says, yes, as in that cunt who murdered Selena. And my cousin, her daughter, let's call her Haley. Yes, as in Justin's wife. Both go by she, her. So my sister, 24, she, her, came back from a trip to visit them, and she unfortunately overheard them trash talking about our family. Trash talking about my mom, my dad, sisters, and me. A lot of it is actually horrible, like saying transphobic shit about me, slut shaming my other sisters, making fun of my mom's non-existent sex life when they both know my mom has endometriosis and is in a lot of pain, and my dad's previous alcoholism. We were all heartbroken. My sister didn't say anything at the time just because of pure shock. I think it hurt me more because I was close to them. I called my aunt, called her childish. She kept denying, and that bitch is a terrible liar and bad actor. Like she's in a cheesy porno. She then confessed, and what surprised me is she said that I should go back to normal. That's in quotes, because being non-binary is our word. End quotes. I also like to mention I have autism, so of course, hate that word. And Yolanda knows I have autism too. I then got angry and said, I hate you and I hate Haley, and hung up. After that, my dad told me that I made Yolanda and Haley cry, and for some reason, I felt guilty. I don't know why. Plus, I believe hate is a strong word. So am I wrong for saying I hate them? P.S. My mom, who's petty, said, honestly, you should have just called her a bitch. I don't like to use the word hate as in like towards a person that I know. I mean, there are people that I do strongly dislike, but I don't like to use the word hate because I think it just carries a lot of connotation to it. But if that's what you were feeling in that moment, when people have said hateful things towards you and your family, transphobic things, being ableist, slut shaming, if that was an emotion you were feeling at the time, then you don't have to hold back if you don't want to. I also, then being angry and crying, like it made you feel guilty. Again, that's an emotion that you went through. These are emotions. Emotions can ebb and change. Just because you do love them. So like that, the guilt is understandable, but also they did something that hurt you. So they were crying, I don't know if you were physically crying, but it did hurt you on the inside, so you were crying on the inside. So I don't think what you did was wrong. I think what they did was wrong, and then that elicited a reaction from you.
Yeah, I agree with you on like for me, I view hate as an active emotion. Like that's not a passing thing. Like the whole thing, people are like, don't hold hate in you because like that takes so much energy. Disliking someone takes absolutely zero energy. It is like passive as fuck. Like you don't have to think about it. It's like, whatever, I don't like this person. They don't take up brain space. So like hate to me is like a reaction to hate. Like it's a reaction to something that's happened. So I think in that moment you hated her, and that's a completely justified response if that's like how you were feeling. And also sometimes like with like feelings of like guilt, especially when it comes to when other people are like emotional and like crying with it, a lot of the time, like the reaction that like we initially have to something is like anger. And then when someone else is so upset by us calling someone else out and being angry with it, that they get emotional, that like it can make you emotional, and not because it's, oh, I feel guilty, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, well, I'm sad too, but I was channeling that into anger, and now it's like breaking the seal. One person cries, then another person cries. But yeah, I think that like, I don't think that you were wrong for saying how you feel. I agree with your mom, and call her bitch. That's a good one. But yeah, it's like a betrayal. And I think like a betrayal is, I don't mean dramatic in like a over dramatic or like acting kind of way, but like a betrayal is like, it's a dramatic, like shaken thing, which is, I think it's a natural reaction to have hate to it. On a complete sidebar note, and this is not what you wrote in about asking if you were wrong, I will say I'm all here for the naming of one person, as in Yolanda, as in the person who killed Selena. But we cannot include Hailey Bieber in that level. Like that, no. I give that poor woman a break. Like, good God, she did not kill literally anybody. But for your real life, Yolanda and Hailey, if you stand by it, you stand by it. If someone else wants you to feel guilty, that's not your problem.
All right. Next up, Megan.
Okay. I'm 18, she, her, asking about a situation involving my ex-boyfriend, 18, he, him. We broke up over a month ago, having dated around 6 months on mutual terms and remained friends since, checking up on each other and texting every other day. Oh, bad vibes already. Bad vibes already. I thought things were fine between us until I heard from a mutual friend that he's been talking about me to our mutual friend, saying that he won our breakup, in quotations, because I'm dyeing my hair, which is completely irrelevant to him, and that he broke up with me because I was too emotional. He didn't tell them that I was quote unquote too emotional because I cried and confided in him that I was essayed last year, or because within a single week my grandmother died and I started my first year of college knowing no one in my course in a difficult male-dominated field, so I was overwhelmed with all the change in my life, so I went to him for comfort about it. I always made sure to communicate with him and ask if he was okay and able to help me before seeking comfort in him. We broke up 3 weeks later. The mutual friend also told me that many of our other friends are saying to not like him anymore, are saying that they don't like him anymore because of how he's acting and treating me, but I don't think any of them will tell him that. I know I should just cut ties and be done with the situation, but the petty side of me wants to know if I would be wrong if I call him out and tell him that he's selfish and immature and being an asshole, that he'll never have a perfect relationship like he wants, and if he expects people to never go through hard times. I'm gonna say you would be wrong only because I do not think you're gonna get the reaction out of it that you want. I don't think the sentiment is wrong. I don't think your feelings are wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all in the situation. But I think when we have these kinds of like movie moments of confronting, like you think of the movies of like confronting the bully, like, or like saying something and having it, I'm going to like say my piece and all that. A lot of the time that the only time that we have that like cathartic release, or we think that we're going to get that, is when we get the response that we're looking for. And sometimes it can just make everything exponentially worse. If someone has to say that they won the breakup to the person who is to someone who is aware of both parties in the breakup, that means you didn't win it. Like, if you have to say it, it's not you. But I agree with Melissa, and like you're gonna go through heartbreak again at some point in your life, and the best advice I can give like literally anyone going through that is the quicker that you can have closure on your own, closure, quote unquote, and the quicker that you can do these things insularly without trying to gain a response from somebody else, you'll be far more control in your life. Because if he's saying these things behind your back, he's not about to surprise you and be a wonderful person to your face. He's just going to be two-faced, and it's not going to hit the same. Like, write down everything you want to say, fucking burn it, fucking like do something like that feels more cathartic, and then sit on it. And if you want to say something, go for it. But if it's just in like the heat of the moment, if a month goes by and you still don't like, you still need to do it. Yeah. But the fire might die out, and that's an emotional response that's not going to get you what you want out of it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know this dude, but I know dudes like him. And I think that if you say something, it might actually make him feel like he wanted even more.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what he's going to go around and tell people, that you're so mad and he's just cool and over it. All right, next one. Dear Megan and Melissa, I have been meaning to write in about this for a while. My then friend, Sam, of 7+ years, and I went on a trip to Florida in July of 2021. We started off at my family's home in Florida and then drove to Disney for a few days. Everything was great until our last night at Disney. We were freshly 21, so we were both drinking, and I accidentally overdid it. She took care of me that night. The next morning, we were supposed to go to Epcot and a helicopter tour. I insisted that we still go, but she refused and decided that we should drive back to the house. The entire 4-hour ride there was silent. We got to the house around 2 p.m. and she decided she wanted to leave and get her own hotel room, despite there being another room for her in the house where she could have stayed if she needed privacy. This really upset me. When we met up at the airport the next day to leave, it was like nothing happened. Fast forward to mid-August 2021, when we attended our friend's baby shower. At the time, Sam had a long-term boyfriend that she was cheating on with the boyfriend of another mutual friend that was there. She pretended to be best friends with her like nothing was happening. I was already considering cutting ties after Florida, but this made me completely stop talking to her. None of our mutual friends are still talking to her either due to other things she's done. Was I justified in ending the friendship? I don't have many friends, so sometimes I contemplate reaching back out. I understand my role in this, but I also feel as though her actions were not justified. Would love to hear your thoughts, but I am sensitive. Thanks. All right. So the drunk thing and her taking care of you. I have been you on occasion, but I have also been Sam. And when I've been Sam, one thing about being you in that situation is that you don't completely remember everything that happened. And so you may have said or done something that really offended Sam. So I completely understand Sam leaving and needing space, even if she was in a different room. Sometimes you just have to get away from the person. So I don't fault her for any of that. But the second situation, did you know beforehand that she was cheating with the boyfriend of your mutual friend? Because it seems like you did.
That's a good point.
And the only reason you got mad is because she was pretending to be that person's best friend. But you were also pretending to be their friend, because if you weren't pretending to be their friend, then you would have told them that she was cheating, or you would have stopped being friends with Sam. So justified ending the friendship. Maybe. Like, if you didn't want to be friends with her, yeah, justified. But like, were you a good friend to this other person because you knew that she was cheating, and you were only mad because she was acting like she was friends with this other person? Might be reading something into it, but I'm just going off the information that's there.
Melissa, that this isn't even about me, and this has never been me, but like the fucking deep cut that was, you're so poignant. Like, wow, you're right. Which is why you host this podcast.
So that's all I got to say with those.
Yeah, I wholeheartily agree with that. Like, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together with that part of the end where, yeah, from the start though, like Melissa said, like I'm sure I've been, Sam, I don't know if I ever have any of my friends like I used to get drunk with, they'd be like, shut the fuck up. No, you were always this. So I've, and like there's like a lot of like shame and embarrassment that comes like from that. And like I have especially like after I stopped drinking, like the amount of guilt that I have to like my college roommate, I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, she calls me Piper, and she was like, no, Piper, like I love you. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I was like, no, like I feel guilty all the time. Like I still feel guilty about it. And that's like a level of self-awareness that I have because I don't drink anymore. So like, yeah, you're not going to remember what you do. You're not going to remember how you treat someone, especially like it's, you know, you went and stayed at your family's house. If it's just you two there, that can be like kind of a liability if you're even at Disney or not. But if it's just both, like it can feel like a really large burden there that even if you didn't get physical with her or say something negative to her, like you could have been potentially instigating things with other people who are around, or like it felt like things might escalate and like she wasn't going to be able to like physically protect and keep both of you safe. That's really hard. So I don't think that the lack of communication on her end for that, like, I think that's relatively justified. Like, I think like you just kind of need a break. But I agree with everything Melissa said about the bridal shower. Like, it does seem like we're looking at other people saying that they're not being good friends because they're not cluing in another party to a situation that's happening. And that's also not what you're doing. And I don't think that, like, I personally hold all of my friends to the expectation and the standard that like we'll all tell each other things. Like, I'm like, shit happens. I'm gonna tell someone, I'm gonna tell whatever cheating partner, I'm gonna be like, you have got 48 hours to tell, or I'm telling. Like, and that's how I'm gonna be. There's no way I'm gonna kind of keep the peace there. It's a mutual friend, and that's a betrayal there. And you might not be actively participating in the affair, in the adultery, but like you have more information than the person who's being cheated on, and you're not doing anything about it. And like, does that make you a good friend? So like Melissa said, I don't think you're wrong for wanting to end the friendship if you want to end the friendship, but I think that it's time for some like introspection of, am I acting and behaving in a way that I'm proud of, and that like I would look at a friend who was making these choices and I would say like, yeah, I think that very much aligns with my morals and my ethos and like the kind of people I also want to be surrounded with. Hello, Meghan and Melissa. I am a 25-year-old girl currently living abroad in an international volunteer program where the European community pays to house you and for food. Here's where my problem starts. The house in which we are entitled to is filled with just enough for 2 people to live in. And I know it sounds stupid, but right now I'm getting super annoyed with my roommate because she's constantly using the few food containers we have. She cooks for 2 or 3 days at a time and then puts the leftovers in the container in the fridge. The problem is that when I want to do the same, most of the time I can't because she's using all the containers. I know this is a pretty trivial matter and I could just buy more containers, but why do I have to spend my money when she doesn't know how to share the few things that we have? So am I wrong to be getting irritated with the situation? I kind of feel bad for being annoyed by this compared to what I see every day in the project I'm in. So I guess I need someone to tell me that it's okay to feel like this, or if you think I am wrong, feel free to tell me to grow up and stop being petty. I don't think you're wrong for being like irritated, but I don't know if it was like a typo, but like you want to do what she's doing, but you're annoyed by what she's doing. And then she would be annoyed by what you're doing, and you're treating that as like, well, you don't know how to share. And it's like, okay, well then you want to do something where you're not sharing. And I think like you both have like equal access and equal like say and not call, but you've got like equal
opportunity.
Yeah. And like you're splitting things within the household. So like it's It's not like you're subletting from someone or you're a guest there and you're having like you're both with the same resources in the same place. Like you both have the exact same footing in this apartment. And that's like in terms of like legality. And then you get into the gray area of like manners and like morals and like being considerate. There's like nothing, she doesn't have to be considerate the same way you don't have to be considerate. But if you want someone to be considerate, I think it's to ask as opposed to just getting irritated and upset about it. Some people, me, hi, maybe only child, you've lived alone for a really long time, or you're just not seeing the other person doing like meal planning, meal prepping because you're taking all the containers, but you're not realizing, oh, I don't see them ever do it. And it's like, oh, well, you have them. It's like, oh, my bad. There can be some absent-minded thing or even just not even realizing that they're doing it. And that's frustrating and irritating. So I think bringing it up while you're not irritated of like, not, hey, you do this thing that pisses me off, that it's like, oh, so I've noticed a problem that we have. And I think like the solution we should do is like, how about, so like you get to meal prep like Monday, the food containers, we'll do meal prep for, I know that you like to do it on Sundays or something like, and I like to do mine on Wednesdays. You have them from these days to these days. I'll have them from these days to these days so we can rotate so it works out well. And they might be like, oh, I'll just buy more. They can go for it. But like, they can't say, oh, well then, no, I'm just going to keep using them, because then I would be like, cool, I'm going to throw your food out and then I'm going to use them.
Yeah. I think that this is a simple conversation. I think that you're letting the resentment that you have build up over something that's very small. She may be doing this and not realizing that she's doing this. So just simply say, hey, I want to use the containers too. But if we both, want to meal prep, why don't we go in half? Because a lot of times they sell them in big. If you both are financially able to, like if we can go in half and split. So then that way, neither, because you said you could buy, it's just the principle of it. So if you can buy, then propose this, that y'all go in with some more so you both have enough containers.
Yeah, I think the best thing we can always do, and it applies to most situations, until you know it's a personal attack, don't take it like a personal attack, because that's how we can blow up at people. And it's like really disproportionate and things don't get solved because we read into someone's intentions. That's like really, we're reading subtext that isn't there.
All right. Now we're going to take another break. Now it's time for But Are They Wrong? And that is when we pick somebody in the world that we think is wrong. And this week, there's been a lot of people, but a lot of terrible people, but I'm just trying to keep it light. Y'all know that up until like April, it was raining 5 months straight in LA, which, is good for the earth, but it was terrible for the streets. And our streets were already bad as it was, and now they're just raggedy. There's potholes everywhere. I was downtown a couple weeks ago, and within a block, I had to swerve and miss 3 different potholes. Our mayor, Karen Bass, last week announced a plan to address what she has called an unprecedented number of damaged streets across the city. So since December 30th, Los Angeles has received 19,692 service requests for repairs. And
how
as
many
of
of them
April,
are you?
Actually, for those specific things, I haven't really been reporting them, but I did make a report yesterday about something else.
Yeah.
And as of April 6th, crews have filled at least 17,549 potholes. So they're doing pretty good. But one person, the former governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, took to the streets because he was angry. And so he filled one of the potholes near him. His spokesperson, Daniel Ketchel, which I think it's hilarious that he has a spokesperson to speak on this, said that Brentwood residents made repeated requests for repairs since the winter storms opened up potholes and cracks on local roads. And so the governor said, today, after the whole neighborhood has been upset about the giant pothole that's been screwing up cars and bicycles for weeks, I went out with my team and fixed it. So there's a picture of him with some little boots on where you can see that he is kind of doing something, but this other man is actually doing all the work. And he said, I went out with my team and fixed it. I always say, let's not complain. Let's do something about it. Here you go. Well, it turns out that what he said was a pothole wasn't actually a pothole. It was a trench that had been dug up for utility work and had been covered, but not like with the gravel stuff. And so the SoCal Gas Company had covered it with a temporary asphalt that is going to be replaced, but they just haven't got to it yet because they were going to do it. The pipeline system was completed January 26th, but the rain delayed it, and it's usually done within 30 days. So he was kind of being a little Rachel, but again, this is like a light thing. They did come out and fix it because they didn't want it to be messed up by what his team did.
Yeah.
So it did speed it up. So I guess Arnold's thing helped it move faster, but more so for safety.
That like made me laugh so hard. It like you can't tell me that's not straight out of an episode of Veep. That was probably my favorite piece of news in like the last week. That was like, oh, news can be, we can have like commentary on like people doing things that are shitty and stupid that aren't deadly dangerous and so destructive, like low stakes. So I would like to nominate the Oklahoma Sheriff's Department.
Oklahoma is kind of a reoccurring, it's like Florida and Oklahoma.
I was about to say, I was like, Oklahoma, like, I don't even know how many times you've been brought up here. Like, and every time, Oklahoma, whatever happened, you had a musical, and look at you. Downfall, absolute downfall. So I don't know why. Actually, I do. So I'm on Los Angeles subreddits, and for some reason they think, well, you're part of this city subreddit. Do you think you maybe would enjoy the Tulsa subreddit? Would you enjoy the Topeka subreddit? And I'm like, I'm so good. But suddenly I end up in there, and I saw this one thing of a screenshot of some police statement, and just like, and it was like a police statement from like a Facebook group in Oklahoma. And like the Redditor had like done a caption of being like, oh shit, it's going down. And I open the comments and everyone's saying the same thing. I go, what are we talking about? Like, what is the drama? What is happening? And I assumed this was some like niche sort of thing because it's popping off on this Oklahoma one, but I hadn't seen it cross my desk yet. Then I was on AP News and I finally got to the bottom of it. And I'm just going to read you this headline and then we're going to get into it. Oklahoma Sheriff says recording of killing talk was illegal. What? Exactly. You go, okay. The sheriff made a statement that the recording of talking about killing someone was illegal, which you feel like, duh. And also, what are we talking about? So, a newspaper in Oklahoma has a recording in which the sheriff and other county officials are reportedly heard discussing killing two of the journalists and then hanging Black people. And then they say, oh yeah, that was illegal and predicted felony charges will be filed. This started with a post on the sheriff office Facebook page. And they've since
in the background.
What?
Were they like talking in the background and it got captured in a video, or were they just outright on a video?
So the Oklahoma governor is seeking resignation of the 4 county officials after a newspaper's audio recording apparently captured some of them complaining about 2 of the paper's journalists and then saying that they know hitmen and where holes are dug. A portion of this recording was released by the paper, and it appears to capture one of 4 making racist remarks about Black people. What is the Independent not saying? It was lynching. That was specifically. So the county officials, it was the McCurtain County Sheriff, Kevin Clardy. That sounds like the name that would be in like the supervillain Clardy. And the 3 other county officials, Sheriff's Captain Alicia Manning, District 2 Commissioner Mark Jennings, and Jail Administrator Larry Hendricks. Jail Administrator, ooh. So the governor said, I am both appalled and disheartened to hear of the horrid comments made by officials. There's simply no place for such hateful rhetoric in the state of Oklahoma, especially by those who serve to represent a community through their respective office. Sir, that was a threat, a literal death threat. That is like, that's not like horrible comments. So the McCurtain Gazette News released portions of the audio recording following March 6th County Commission meeting in which Mr. McClarty, Manning, and Jennings appear to be discussing reporters Bruce and Chris Willingham. Mr. Jennings tells Mr. Clardy and Miss Manning, I know where 2 deep holes are dug if you ever need them. I've got an excavator. Mr. Jennings says he also knows 2 or 3 hitmen, adding they're very quiet guys. He also complains about... He also complains about not being able to hang Black people, saying they've got more rights than we've got. None of the 4... all of the 4 have been reached out for comment. They have yet to respond. And then a spokesperson for the FBI's office in Oklahoma City said like their agency policy is like not to confirm or deny an ongoing investigation, which why? Like, what do you, this isn't
Because
like a sting operation.
Yeah, but it's still, there can be interference from outside people. So they don't want to comment until they come to a conclusion.
Yeah, so the Attorney General said that the agency received an audio recording is investigating the incident, and people gathered outside and were like, resign, you fucking crazy racists. And so how it happened, Bruce Willingham, the longtime publisher of the McCurtain Gazette News, said the recording was made on March 6th. He left a voice-activated recorder inside the room after the county commissioners' meeting. He suspected that the group was going to continue to talk after the meeting had ended, and which was a violation of the Opens Meeting Act. So that's what he thought he was trying to capture. And he talked on 2 different occasions to their attorneys to make sure that he wasn't doing anything illegal before doing it. And he says he believes the local officials were upset about stories we've run that cast the sheriff's office in an unfavorable light, including the death of Bobby Barrack, a Broken Bow, Oklahoma man who died in the hospital of March 22 after the McCurtain County deputy shot him with a stun gun. And the newspapers also filed lawsuits against the sheriff's office trying to seek out body cam footage. And he's turned over all of it to the FBI. And so because he specifically recorded them trying to like catch the fact that they were continuing essentially to talk about meeting and work business after the matter that the meeting had been closed, they don't have a right to privacy in that. And so therefore the recordings obtained are legal. And then what I saw was posted on the Reddit was the sheriff's department posting on Facebook being like, this didn't happen. We don't know anything about this. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what? So the post on the sheriff's
FBI has already confirmed that there's an investigation going on.
So where is it? Okay, I'm going to read you this Facebook post. You can't tell me this doesn't sound like a fucking YouTuber's old tweets were resurfaced. Like, it's literally written like that. The last 72 hours have been amongst the most difficult and disruptive in recent memory. This is a very complex situation and one we regret having to address. This is from a day ago. There is and has been an ongoing investigation into multiple significant violations of the Oklahoma Security Communications Act, Title 13, blah, 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 which states that it's illegal to secretly record a conversation in which you are not involved in and do not have the consent to at least one of the involved parties. There's a significant number of victims of this criminal activity, and it has taken a significant effort and time to identify them and corroborate evidence. Many of these recordings, like the one published in the media outlets Friday, have yet to be duly authenticated or validated. Our preliminary information indicates that the media released audio recording has, in fact, been altered. The motivation for doing so remains unclear at this point. That matter is being actively investigated. In addition to being illegally obtained, the audio does not match the quote-unquote transcription of that audio and is not precisely consistent with what has been put into print. Multiple agencies are assisting in this ongoing investigation. As a result of the press release that went out Friday, a large number of threats of violence, including death threats, have been made against county employees and officials, their friends, and family. Maybe similar to those of the journalists. There will be continued press releases from this agency as the investigation comes to a close and findings are forwarded to the appropriate authorities for felony charges to be filed for those involved. You want to press felony charges to the journalists who legally obtained and reported you saying you wanted to kill them.
And also the person that recorded it said exactly why they did it.
Yes, which is another violation. Yeah.
All right. So that's it.
Woo!
Do us a favor. Go leave us a review.
Oh, we would.
If you don't want to leave us a review, also look in the show notes. Go take our survey, please. Also write in about Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, first episode, hot takes. Let's go.
Let's go. Looking forward to it. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure you head on over to our Instagram at any time before Tuesday, and you will see the votes and you can participate. Who you think was wrong in each situation. Would love to hear from you. And as always, we love to hear your feedback. So if you're like, disagree with this one, agree with this one, here are some thoughts that I have, word vomit into those DMs. We love to read them. And you can catch the results on Fisting Friday.
Oh, yeah. So thank you for joining us. We enjoyed it. Hope that you enjoyed it. And so we will circle back.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the co-hosts of the Christmas. Let me try that again. Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be massively merry,
Oh,
gigantically jolly, fantastically festive, as some people might say, Eric. We are all about alliterations, and we are all about Christmas spirit. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody. Let's go. It should be like, let's go, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.